behold, I send you as sheep amidst the wolves. I had a dream. Where I saw, I've said this before, I wrote it in my notebook, where I saw myself with young men and, middle-aged men walking in, but they were mostly, not above, not above 60. Okay, that's all right. So I'm flexible, right? I'm not giving any preferential treatment, but like healthy, right? We were, even people that were in their 40s looked like 30, right? And we were walking in this forest in the mountains, and we got to this part where it was going downhill, and I stood on the slope, like the top of this slope in the forest, and there were other men that were going in front of me and others that stayed behind with me. Then came this massive horde of wolves out of the forest. Ravenous, savage wolves. They came right at us. The first ones that came in front, they were fighting, they were fending off this attack. And in my spirit, I sensed that I had a duty and a role to anticipate an attack coming from behind. In the vision, in the dream, I saw the wolves. They started to circle all the way back and came right behind the men that were, in this, it kind of looked like a camp now. It was this slope, and then I started seeing it as a camp. And they came right in within the camp, and we managed to stop them. We were not taken by surprise. We knew that they were going to attack from behind. And the men that were in front, the line did not break. The line did not break. They stood their ground, it did not break. But the ones who came behind, they managed to enter the camp, but we were not overwhelmed. We fought them within the camp. We stopped a surprise attack. And the person leading this assault, telling you, wolves, right? Ravenous wolves. I saw a woman riding this one wolf that was within the camp, and I was facing this woman in the camp. The dream ended. A woman was leading this pack, this horde. It was not even a pack, it was a horde of wolves. The Apostle Paul said that many wolves will enter the flock and not spare. Grievous wolves, even among your own selves shall men arise and speak perverse things, drawing disciples after them. Acts 20, verse 29 to 30. I also dreamt, this was a couple years ago, where I was located in this place. It was a large space that resembled the Vatican Square, where you got the pillars, and then you've got the balcony where the Pope speaks, and it looked like very similar. It's again in my notebook. This is all of these dreams were before the COVID, right? So we're talking about 2018, 2019, early 2019. And I saw this figure that appeared on the balcony, and I saw there was a sea of men and women. They were all watching this balcony. They were all in admiration, mesmerized, just like under mind control. And they were watching this balcony, and this figure appeared. the visage of this individual I could not perceive. Why? Because the faces started to shift. It was like a hologram, and it was like multifaceted and many colors. It was like this aura with colors, and it kept shifting so fast that I could not perceive what faces were being shown. And then I saw, that his apparel was like, these popes, with gold, and it was gilded, and it was very, very luxurious. And then I saw this second figure next to this first figure. And this second figure looked like your typical Christ-like figure, right? Like here, right? Long hair, but with a crown of thorns and what have you, okay? Right? And he had the crown of thorns and, the cloth to hide the private parts, okay? And very thin, the kind of statues you have in Roman Catholic churches where, you have this fake Jesus, this fake Christ hanging. I saw that next to the first figure, and it looked like a puppet. It really looked like this puppet, this sort of weird, like a puppet, right? But very realistic, and it was like dead, like literally dead, like that, with the crown of thorns, right, and the long hair, and on his his cloth covering his private parts, and he was like like this on the scene. And this first figure started to speak to it, but I could not see a mouth speaking. It was like he was doing a mind sort of control, like telepathy. He was doing a sort of a telepathy ability, and it was like he was like communicating, but a non-verbal communication. And while he was doing that, then this sort of puppet, fake Jesus puppet character, it started to move. It started, the mouth started to open its mouth and speak and go, while this first figure was communicating and operating through this body. And this false Christ started to speak, started to say all sorts of things, but like, really like under the influence of a higher power. And when that happened, I'm telling you, in the dream, I heard this in my spirit. It was a resounding, it was almost audible. I was hearing it in an audible sense in my spirit. I know it sounds weird, but that's what I experienced. And this was late at night, like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And I could hear, this is the abomination of desolation. This is the abomination of desolation. This is the abomination of this. I've got shivers right now. Abomination of desolation. And I knew that it was the Spirit of God telling me, this is the man of sin. This is the Spirit operating through this image of the beast. This image of the beast operating. You might feel, maybe you might say it's false prophet, and I cannot tell you, but I had the feeling, I cannot tell you with a precision, but I can tell you that this body that was speaking, that looked like Christ, I believe it was the image of the beast. And the spirit of the beast, which was this figure, like it was a spiritual entity, but it had, the kind of signals showing that it was invested with authority, was speaking through this image. I believe this was the spirit of the serpent, the spirit of Satan, the spirit of the dragon. The dream ended.